In this episode, we're going to talk about the juvenile justice system. The juvenile justice system was created in 1899, and the very first court system was in Chicago, what today is Cook County. Now, the juvenile justice system has two purposes. The first being to rehabilitate or change the behavior of young people. The second is to punish them for misdeeds. In the 1960s, there's going to be a lot of reforms or changes made to the juvenile justice system. Most of these reforms are going to be spurred on by several different Supreme Court cases. Now, the two cases that you need to remember when it comes to the juvenile justice system are N. Ray Galt. In this case, we're going to extend due process protections to juveniles. What happens is the young man is arrested and nobody notifies his parents. And they basically interrogate him without a lawyer, without him being read his rights. And what the Supreme Court says is that even though you are a juvenile, you're not a full citizen, you are still protected by the Constitution and the rights of the accused. The other Supreme Court case that you need to know about when it comes to juvenile justice is Roper v. Simmons. And this is a more recent case from 2002. And in this case, the Supreme Court ruled that the death penalty was unconstitutional for juvenile offenders. The justice system today is different from state to state. Each state has their own version. In most states, if you are under the age of 18 and commit a crime, you are tried in juvenile court. In some states, the age is 16. And then still furthermore, in other states, depending on the crime, if it's very serious, like murder, under certain circumstances, that juvenile could actually be tried as an adult. There's two types of juvenile offenders that go through the system. The first one is a delinquent offender. This is what we call young people that actually commit a crime. The second type of offender is a status offender. These are basically uncontrollable kids. Their parents just don't know what to do with them. They're skipping school, they're running away, they're not listening. Those are status offenders. Now, the procedures for the juvenile court system are a little different than the adult version. So it goes something like this. If you get in trouble and you're arrested, you're taken into custody and you're booked. The big difference here is your parents must be notified. Your rights of the accused are the same, plus the whole parents must be notified. Then things change, and we're going to have what's called an intake. This is when a social worker is going to meet with the young person who's being arrested. And they're going to look at that young person and decide how this case should be handled. Is it a case of the young person acting out? Are they following along with friends? What's happening and how should we proceed? Up next is called the detention hearing. And this is similar to a grand jury. Basically, they're trying to decide if there's enough evidence to proceed. When we get to the real trial, it's called an adjudication hearing. It's very similar to a normal trial, but the big difference is because the person is a juvenile, it's closed to the public. All the records are sealed, and they're not going to be opened. Lastly, the sentencing is actually called a disposition hearing. When it comes to sentencings of juveniles, sentences aren't usually that long, 1 to 3 years. In really extreme cases, though, a young person can be held in juvenile detention until they become an adult. So in some cases until they're 18, or in other cases until they're 21. Okay, that's it for this time.